Welcome everybody. Hope however you're listening, wherever you're listening, and whatever time you're listening. I appreciate you attending. Appreciate you listening to what we have. I think that selling the stack is hallmark to what we do, but it's not only just selling it; it's supporting it. It's allowing you, the partner, to make the money you need to secure your customers, play offense and defense at the same time. There's a lot that goes into this, and it's where AireSpring provides a lot of value. The goals today are showing you how we're positioning the AireSpring stack along with our air control platform, the integrated platform that allows you and your customer to bring tons of value to what you're trying to do. Elevate you from being an agent to a strategic advisor. Times have changed. We need to make sure that if you're still considering yourself an agent, we change you to the strategic advisor, the trusted advisor. Days have changed, stacks have changed. The way we as suppliers and vendors, we've changed. So let's make sure that you have changed as well. Talk about how we can multiply revenue and opportunities. We'll show you some case studies. We'll show you some industry stats, things that really matter. It's not just from me, but what do others think about how selling the stack, selling multiple services into a single customer really bring you value? And then just kind of explain a little bit about air control, our single pane of glass, but it's really where solutions and outcomes take place for you, and the long-term health of the customer is so successful that you'll continue selling over and over to support those customers. And then leveraging the AireSpring advantage. You're bringing AireSpring to the table gives you a lot of advantages, not only in the pre-sales, but the post-sales. And the wide expanse of our portfolio gives you advantages that many others cannot bring. So selling the stack, some of these you recognize as big companies. You just say to yourself, hey, what does this really matter to the channel that we're in? Well, take a look around, and there's a lot of private equity in our business. There's a lot of big business that are starting to, the wallet share conversation comes more into effect. What else can we bring to the customer? Because I can tell you, if you're not bringing a full suite of services to a customer, somebody else is. So let's not let that happen. Let's allow you to be that trusted advisor along the way. Companies like Dell recognize that just selling a particular line of service isn't as valuable as selling multiple lines of service. How can you increase your multipliers when it comes to revenue? Because at the end of the day, revenue is what matters. That's why we're all in this business. That's why you became a trusted advisor or a partner along the way, so that you could stack revenue and you could make more money. Look at Bain and Capital. You might have seen them recently in some press releases in our channel as they've done due diligence to help grow this business. They're looking at, hey, just a small increase in retention can raise your profits, raise company profits. I know if I look at it from our side of the house at AireSpring, we have a really strong intention at growing that retention numbers, because retention numbers allow us to then share our message about different opportunities that come to the table, and profits at the end of the day are where we're at. Stickier customers, loyal customers. McKinsey & Company, they talk about just the cross-selling effect. Being able to look at bringing one product to the table, but then cross-selling it into that customer. Don't get stuck selling just one service, because that doesn't allow you to really expand your wallet share with that customer. Understand what services they're paying for. Sometimes it's easy to say, hey, sell more services into a customer. What does that really mean? That means you getting in and bringing a wallet share mindset to the conversation. What services are you paying for today, Mr. Customer? Like, how can I help you with that particular item? The operational expense of what we do today in the SaaS business. Customers are today involved in more SaaS services than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's time to have that conversation. Retention, and as I mentioned, retention's big, but churn is also big. There's a lot of places customers are involved with a lot of different opportunities every day. I can tell you this, that multiple partners are in deals today than I've ever seen, and it's because of the maturity of our business. So when I say play defense, sometimes that's what I mean is, hey, if you're not selling into a customer, somebody else is. So have that mindset. One of the things that I've noticed in my tenure in the channel, which is over 20 years now, is partners tend not to have an account management mindset as much as they do kind of that big elephant hunter mindset. We love to go out and sell it, but then what? And that's really the selling of the stack mantra is, hey, can I go get more out of that customer? We have to have an account management mindset as well, that really kind of expands into that wallet share. And then I'll share, hey, Avant, they may not be your TSD of choice, but they are in our business and do share a lot of great stats. So I encourage you to go back to your TSD, whoever you prefer, and talk to them about their stats on selling multiple services, their base. What does it mean? Avant shared publicly at their special forces about, I don't know if this is last year or the year before, but the message rings true, which is the average trusted advisor only sells 1.2 services per customer. And if you think about that, that's not that many. Maybe selling a connectivity, a broadband circuit, and an SD-WAN. And it could be multiple things. But do you want to be an average trusted advisor, or do you want to be considered in the top 50? Look what it takes to be in Avant's top 50. They sell 3.8 services per customer. So you're talking UCaaS, you're talking mobility, you're talking about connectivity, you're talking about SD-WAN. There's all kinds of things, and I'd love to show you in a minute about our portfolio. But this is just Avant. It could be very similar across the TSD landscape. I encourage you to have those conversations with your TSD channel manager or your development specialist or someone else, because I guarantee you they have similar stats that can really open your eyes to what that means, being average or being in the top part of their trusted advisor list. So talk about selling outcomes. That's really a big idea, because if you're just selling circuits into a customer, for example, and not having the conversation about what those circuits are supporting, what their business is doing today, how has it changed in the last 5 years, sell the outcome. Where are we trying to go? What applications are we supporting? All of these conversations really lead to outcomes, because at the end of the day, you're selling the outcome, not a particular service or a product. And that's the mindset that you want to be in, is the outcome. What solutions am I providing? What story am I trying to tell? Maybe it's an offensive story or a defensive story. Either way, however you're interacting with the customer, sell the outcome of what you're trying to deliver and how you're supporting it. Our air control platform is the glue that really holds in these multiple product sets in this stack, giving them the visibility they don't have. IT teams today are limited. There's so much that's getting thrown at them, especially on the security front, the device endpoint, the remote employees, everything's in the cloud. How do we support that? How do we make sure our branches are always up and business continuity is front of mind? Air Control allows for that. It's an amazing platform that allows you to sell outcomes and control outcomes, but also have the customer feel like that they have control where they haven't had control in the past. This all allows you to go upstream. Certainly, selling to a two-person office doesn't really allow you to go upstream the way you want to, or sell across the stack maybe the way that you want to. But selling a portfolio that AireSpring brings to the table, the air control message that allows for these outcomes, gives you the opportunity to now go upstream. This is exactly where you want to go, and allows you to have those conversations. We don't want you to just be a broker of services. I mean, if you're just in the mindset of selling particular components, you're really nothing more than just a broker of services. Be a solutions owner. We're trying to get you to own this customer, and there's many different ways you can go about that. But you really have to take into account that owning that stack, being the trusted advisor, not just for the one thing that you sold, but for the other things you can introduce, allows you to become a solution owner. And it's not just the services that you're selling into an IT department. Think about the CIO and the landscape of who's making decisions these days. A CIO only stays at a company 3 years. I think that it maybe has gone down a little bit, but the industry standard or the position standard used to be every 3 years a CIO is going to turn over. Is that your only line of defense inside a customer? Own the customer, own all of the different particular areas, because if that CIO walks out the door, do you have access to the other decision makers? Make yourself a visible person inside of these companies. And again, the stickier the customer, the better you're able to secure long-term value. Obviously, a larger customer comes with staggered contracts. That's a stickier customer in my mind, and yours as well. That customer cannot leave you for somebody else because those contracts are over a long period of time. That really secures your monthly recurring revenues as they come through the front door. So you think about selling a circuit to, let's say, a 50 location company. Those contracts are not always going to be ending in the same month. And now you layer on another service that has another end date in the future. After 3 years, maybe that's a fourth year or a fifth year. That customer can be yours for a long period of time. But play defense because somebody else is talking to that customer, and you want to make sure that you're the one that's gaining control over the decisions in the future. So selling the stack, obviously you start in a place, you're connecting that customer, you're connecting multiple applications, you're securing applications, you're securing the endpoints, the users, how people access the systems that are amazing to you, and how are you communicating with the customers? How do your customers communicate with you? Obviously, that's a huge part of the equation, and worldwide. We sell services worldwide. We support customers worldwide. We give them visibility to their entire enterprise worldwide. What does that do for that customer to have that visibility? And also mobilize. The workforce today is not coming into a particular office. They're mobile. They're on the road. They're in other places. Your customers are utilizing mobile devices, whether it's cell phones or iPads or IoT. There's a lot that goes into this. If you're talking about things all along the way, then you're actually becoming a one-stop shop for that customer. You're going deeper, and you're actually selling the stack. All managed by our air control platform, like giving you that visibility, not you necessarily, but the customer. But like I said, the IT staffs are strained. They want to know quickly what's happening. They want to see the value of what we brought to the table. So what is the stack? Obviously, selling the stack means you've got to have things to offer customers, and that's brought to you by a wide portfolio that we bring. I consider this a foot in the door. If you look across this stack, what foot can I put in the door? And it could be anywhere that you see on the screen. It's not the same place every time because how you interact with the customer may be at different points in time of their journey. So having a foot in the door with a particular service can start somewhere different each time. But these silos really give you an idea of how to structure your pitch or to form your wallet share conversation. I would say that at AireSpring, most of the conversations start with managed connectivity. It's just where most people start their conversations. It's really easy to have those conversations. And that's where the term agent really came from back in the day, is trying to lower people's business internet and their connectivity. It's really blossomed from there over the last 10, 15 years, where you're not just talking about managed connectivity. You're talking about the Starlink satellite, which we're authorized vendors. There's a lot of our enterprise customers that start with a single Starlink in a remote place somewhere. You generate a great rapport with the IT teams. You solve a problem for them in one area, and now the conversation opens up. That's what I call a foot in the door, and it goes across the landscape. AireSpring's brought in best of breed vendors to our portfolio to allow you to have best of breed conversations as a trusted advisor. And if you can come in and bring a level of confidence in a SASE solution, in a security solution, in a voice solution, but globally as well, now you're bringing great value to the conversation, whereas that IT person was having to do all this themselves. And I talk a lot about with my partners about building your own house. As a partner, or as someone building their own house, yeah, I can go and do it all myself. I can go get the concrete guy. I can go get the plumber. I can get the roofer. But guess what? I have to manage each of those people. When you're bringing a customer to AireSpring, what you're doing is you're bringing a customer to us where a project manager is going to own all of that. Now you have one project manager to work with, one company to work with that understands their goals, understands what success looks like. And as a partner, that's the easy button. That allows you to work with one company across a portfolio on a single project plan. And now you don't have to spend time managing that project plan and multiple suppliers to do the same thing you're trying to do anyway. And so it's always an interesting look when we talk about, yeah, you can do it all yourself. You can go direct to some of these people, but you're not going to have the same visibility across the landscape that it really takes to become a valued supplier like AireSpring. Then some of you might say, hey, I don't want to complicate my sale. That's always been a big issue with selling the stack is, hey, I know what I'm selling in there and I want to sell it. I don't want to complicate it and bring in other people from the organization. If I'm just selling them connectivity aggregation, well, that's enough, because now if I start having the security conversation, if I start having the mobility conversation, or I've got to bring in the global people for whatever reason, now my sale that just was a month out is now 6 months out, because now we got to start over and bring in new people to approve this and approve that and put their stamp on it and justify their position. Totally get it. Those are valid conversations, and it's always good to know what you're trying to accomplish and who inside the company is your advocate and trying to accomplish that. I would never put a sale in jeopardy if it was something small. So you're selling a ton of connectivity, but you want to add firewall, and now you've got to go somewhere else. Hey, let's sell that connectivity, then have the conversation about where you're going. All of that's relevant, but every customer interaction is different for you. So let's figure out what that means to you, to your customer base, to how you market to your customers, but then what can you manage yourself? AireSpring is the best place to do that so that you can go wider with us and deeper with us at the same time. So the AireSpring advantage is something I just mentioned about project management. Every order, every customer that you sell at AireSpring gets a project manager. And in today's world, that's amazing, because once you do get that foot in the door, the next service that you sell will get the same exact project manager. You sell UCaaS today, but you want to come back in and sell connectivity, same project manager. What that does for you is it allows you to then stack with the same people, as I mentioned. So it's an advantage of us and for you to have that continuity as your customer grows for the many years that we'll be together. The AireSpring advantage today, and it's a very simple methodology, but one that works really well. Our day 0, day 1, day 2 methodology really helps you understand who the players are and when in the process. Obviously, the design phase is our great solutions architect team, our solutions engineers. They'll get in and work with you and our channel management team and the access management team and our pricing teams. There's a lot of people that in this design phase really help you understand how we can sell it, what the angles are of this sale, how we can maybe pitch this a little differently than the customer was expecting. That design phase is huge, because as our solutions architects come through this part of the process, they're handing that information over to our project management team. After that first deal is sold, they'll have conversations with our MSEs and our project managers and those kickoff teams that really stay with you for the entire time. our project managers are the quarterbacks of the day one and the day two, because they stay with you for the life of the customer. So making sure that what we've done in the design phase translates to the service delivery phase, and then that service delivery phase is then supported by our great air control platform, but also our service assurance team that helps manage all of these, that helps set the alerts and alarms, that makes sure that the proactive nature of what we do allows you to always sit back and not take those calls from a customer. You know, when we get to where we are at an 87%, 90% rate of proactive ticket opening, that's where air control becomes a huge value to your customer. We already know what the problem is before they do. We already open tickets with the particular suppliers before they do. They don't have to call us and wonder, you know, who exactly they need to call at the carrier. They don't. They call us. We handle it. But more importantly, in that day two, all of the alerts and the monitoring and the analytics, all of that's visible, and we're telling you what we've done, not what we need to do. The air control platform, as I mentioned, controls a lot of what the customer can do. An IT person that sees what solutions and outcomes we're providing for them, what comfort we're giving them in knowing that their enterprise is up and running, or there are some areas that need to be addressed. That's an amazing tool for you to put in front of your customer and say, look, AireSpring is the vendor of choice. They've built this over many decades to where our back offices and our portals are now all into one single pane of glass. We've developed air control over many years, and we've always had back offices. But as we bring in more best of breed vendors like Cato, like Fortinet, and the Arista part of where Bello was previously, all of them come with their own portals, and it can be very complicated for a customer. We've had our own billing portals in the past. We've had our own troubleshooting portals, our air care portals. All of that still remains in the background because those are great portals. We've put them in this pane of glass so that we can then translate it perfectly to you, the customer, and you the partner, and your customer. Being able to see what locations are problematic. It allows you, the partner, to go in and talk to your customer about particular locations. Hey, this location over a period of time has had 10 support cases. Maybe that circuit has problems. Maybe there's something in your facility that's causing these outages. It allows you a better communication path with your customer, aside from all the great things that it does for your customer. But when you're selling the stack, when you're selling across multiple services, having them all in one place allows them better communication inside their own company, which we find a lot of IT managers, they have limited information about what they actually own and what they're paying for, and they find it really difficult to then go up to their higher levels or their C levels and talk to them about what's problematic or what's next. Here's what we can do next because we have these particular services. That information is very limited today. We're giving them that visibility back. Now, there are some extra things inside of air control that allow customers better visibility, especially selling across the stack, and that's what services do I have? If you talk to customers today that have connectivity and UCaaS and maybe SD-WAN and other services that have been sold, they probably do not know what they have at particular locations, and therefore you spend a lot of time helping them discover. We give them access to every single thing that is at a location, when it was turned up, when that contract ends, what other services may be at that location. It's a tremendous tool for you to flip your mind around. Okay, what does it do for the customer? But what does it do for me, the partner, in having those conversations with the customer? And typically, you've probably only worked with the IT silo of that company. Let's bring in the financial side of a company as well, and the billing. Let's show them the bills. Let's give them a place that they can go in and pay that bill, but also have quick access to understanding what their services, what they're paying for. And that conversation with the financial team allows you to secure business faster. You're making their life easier. And don't overlook that when you're talking about selling across the stack. There's probably some financial element that is a pain point. And when I get to the case studies here, I'll show you some of those pain points. I've got a couple here. I may not go through all of them in detail because this PowerPoint will be up on AgentStar, and I highly encourage you to go to AgentStar, look through our case studies. We have a ton of success stories as well that'll give you a little bit more detail about what challenges a customer face, what products were actually sold, and what outcomes were solved and are moving forward. So I encourage you to go there. If not, get with your channel manager and go through some of these. You'll also see these sent out through various ways, LinkedIn, iAgent, on our website. There are plenty of places to get this information. But when you're talking about customers, these first couple, you'll see that the solutions that are stacked maybe aren't what you're thinking, but they do provide great value to you and solving problems. The challenges that most of our customers see are common here. Got a global enterprise, got 31 different locations, 50 locations. They have many multiple providers. The billing is complex. The financial team hates it. The IT guys have no idea what they're doing. And their security tools are outdated. Companies that have a global presence, they don't have a great set of tools to manage all of it. And there are enterprises at risk. All of them have had security conversations. The first thing on their mind is cyber attacks. The first thing on their mind is securing their enterprise, what people have access to. In this case, an 18K connectivity opportunity turned into a 41K deal based upon our sales engineers and our solutions architects getting in there and identifying additional ways that we can secure their enterprise. This customer was going to piece this all together themselves. They were going to go and do the hard, heavy lifting on their own with Cato. Let's bring Cato to the mix. We're absolutely one of the top Cato partners, and we can provide that great value to put everything together, not only just on one bill, but with one place to call. When anything happens that they need access to from a troubleshooting or a support standpoint, would you want a supplier that owns the connectivity and some of the other services as well? Eliminate the finger pointing. It's been a long time since I've said the finger pointing conversation, but in today's world, that's paramount because there's so much riding on it. There's another case, connectivity. The conversation started with about 25K worth of connectivity. The old school, hey, let's aggregate your connectivity. AireSpring's not an aggregator any longer. We're a provider of managed services and solutions outcomes. We do get stuck in that stack in several places, but we're more than that. And we want you to know that we're more than that. So this 25K sale turned into an 83K sale pretty quickly once we started talking about the pain points of all of the different applications that their clinics need to use. What are we trying to access, and who needs access to that? There weren't really any standards that this company had, but they were talking about it. They were looking at it, but their IT staff couldn't handle that conversation, plus looking at their connectivity and some other items that we sold them. So we came in, provided that kind of augmentation of their IT staff. Partner was amazing in this respect because they had a great relationship. You're talking about connectivity, the primary, the secondary, Starlink. These are enterprises. You think of healthcare providers, they can't be down. They absolutely cannot be down. So providing that continuity is paramount, and you need to be sourcing the right type of connectivity to support all of these applications that are now paramount to the company. But a 25K opportunity quickly became an 83K opportunity just by uncovering and doing a better discovery. Here's one that we're really proud of because it includes multiple services, more than we can put on this kind of the stacked solution, but a really growing enterprise that was having the conversations about security for a couple of years, just didn't pull the trigger on it. They were struggling with how do they implement it? What do they need to do? What's our roadmap? Having a partner sit down and understand all of the things that are aging in their business, went from a simple connectivity conversation about, hey, let's get the right connectivity. Let's get the right bandwidth involved to, oh, you guys have already been talking about this. Let's provide you with a supplier and a vendor that has a great solution for you. This went from hypothetically a 115K deal all the way to 245. What can you do with that kind of money? And on top of that, we do bring a lot of best of breed suppliers to the table. What those best of breed suppliers don't do when you go to them directly is most of the time they do not have additional spiffs in place for you to sell that. Guess who does? AireSpring. In this case, you might have sold Cato directly with Cato and not received a spiff at all. Now, there may be some cases where they do provide some sort of spiff, but in this case, we provide a 2x spiff on Cato. So if you're working with Cato directly, why don't you change directions and come back and work with us? We're going to provide a 2x spiff on Cato services. How much money would you make otherwise is really the paramount question. In this case, this partner is going to make well over $200,000 in spiffs on Cato. What can you do with that money? You can all speculate. Here's more of kind of a common one, because I know that our industry does focus on a lot of retail, focuses a lot on businesses that need to have 100% uptime. And let's not forget that connectivity and business continuity is the absolute first thing that needs to be talked about. Without it, you don't get to a lot of the other conversations to understand what it's actually supporting. But if you talk about fast food chains and hospitality and places that really rely on business continuity and redundancy, this is a great example. Coming in and making sure that they have a primary, a secondary, and then a failover. Any company that works with a point of sale system and in a retail environment, if their point of sale system is down, they are down completely. How many thousands of dollars do they lose if you're not selling that redundancy message? And that's where you get into playing offense and saying, all right, here's a doomsday scenario. Your fiber cut down the street happens. Your point of sale system is down, and you have to put a sign on the door that says cash only. And you don't know how long that's going to be. People see that, they turn around, they walk away. Convenience stores are a big part of this, but also fast food apps don't work. They can't place an order and that business receive it and actually act on it. So there's some great conversations to be had about primary, secondary, and then that failover of some sort with a 5G or a mobility plan. These are great common things, and these are probably some of the easiest to go in and sell that message to when you talk about it. But also, these types of opportunities come with great partnering, because as an advisor, you need to tell them about what suppliers can do, where they can augment that IT team. In these cases, IT staff may be remote. The only people at these locations are just general workers that have zero idea what the blinking lights mean. They just know that your IT, your internet is down. So being able to provide them visibility via our air control platform allows them the comfort that we're handling. We've recognized it, and now that store that's in Dallas, can't be down for the day, and we're losing $15,000 because we just don't have internet. Now you'll see how we're playing that game of always providing uptime, and that's paramount to what you're trying to do. And again, another one where we're stacking solutions, we're stacking internet, we're Starlink, and I can't stress it enough that if you're not trying to sell Starlink into your customers as a second option or a third option, you're missing the boat. That allows you a real good foot in the door if you want to start talking about what else can I sell a customer, because that's been a great add for us in our portfolio to be able to do that and provide visibility into it. There's a lot of problems when it comes to working with Starlink in terms of what I have access to, what you have access to. We've simplified that and brought that into the fold so that it makes a lot of sense for you to have that conversation, and an easy conversation to have as well. Everyone's heard of it, they know it, they're probably asking about it. Either they're asking you, or they're asking somebody else, or they're buying it directly and therefore you're losing out on an opportunity to sell the stack. So in summary here of selling the stack, what are we talking about? You know, lead with outcomes, not just what you're selling. It's not a product, it's not a widget. Sell the outcomes, sell a story, become a storyteller. The better you can sell a story, the better you can become ingrained in that customer's organization, because the narrative of what pain and what solution and what you're looking for in a couple of years, weave all of that together into a really good story that allows you to introduce the stack to the conversation. You need to know your priorities. Absolutely know what your customers' priorities are today. What push and pull is internal in the organization. If you have an IT person that has a priority, make sure that the C levels have the same priority. Otherwise, your opportunity will get stuck at that level. And if they can't sign the contract, figure out who can. Let's get their buy-in. Let's have the advocate as an IT team, but let's go up in the stack inside that organization, no pun intended, and make sure that the C level's responsible for that. You're making their life easy as well. But use real success stories. We can provide those for you. We're agnostic to every industry. We have a solution that can be provided in every industry across the world. What does every company need? They need connectivity first. Start there if you need to. If you need a good starting point and a good strategy, start there, and then let's expand. But I promise you, they have real problems other places that they're trying to solve. So just emphasize the future proofing of what you're trying to do. The fact that you have access to great suppliers and to great vendors across the industry allow you to then bring them great technology. And it's not something you're pushing on them, you're showing them. You're showing them the path. And I believe that the value you as a trusted advisor bring to the table allow us to be successful. AireSpring does not have a direct sales force. 100% of what we bring through the front door comes from great partner relationships and great customers. So if you're not out bringing those partners or those customers to us, we're not selling. So we rely on you and your relationships to help us. So one way to do that is to show your customers how you're making their life easier. I mentioned that earlier. Everybody wants to know how their life can be easier. Everyone's job, comes with pitfalls and it comes with speed bumps. And by 10 a.m. in the morning, what the best laid plans that they had the night before are sideways. Help them figure out what that is and how you can, become their lifesaver. And don't just come in and do slides. It's easy to say we're doing slides here, but don't just come in and talk over a bunch of slides. Do a strong demo. Find out what the pain points are. Our air control demo presents very well. Our software is very powerful when it comes to what we can do for them. So tell the story, tell why a feature and benefit is impactful to them, and don't just rattle off all the different things we can sell. Rattle off the solutions that you're trying to bring to the table. And I guarantee you selling the stack will become part of your go-to-market strategy. Everyone works with customers of different sizes, but I can tell you every customer you interact with needs multiple services. And let's let that be with AireSpring.